Welcome to Hack the Entrepreneur, the show which reveals the fears, habits, and inner battles behind big-name entrepreneurs and those on their way to joining them. Now here is your host, John Naster.
Today's episode of Hack the Entrepreneur is brought to you by Acuity Scheduling. Acuity Scheduling makes scheduling easy. Clients can view your real-time availability and self-book appointments, fill out forms, and even pay online, eliminating 100% of the drudgery. To learn more and get a 45-day free trial, visit acuityscheduling.com/hack. That's ACUITY scheduling.com/hack. Hey, this is Hack the Entrepreneur. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am your host, John Naster, but you can call me Johnny. My guest today is a product creator and a software entrepreneur who is pushing his way towards full-time entrepreneurship. His day job is in software management, but he has spent the past 3 years working mornings, nights, and weekends to build his own business. And build a business he has. About 12 months ago, he's pulled his work week back to 4 days a week to give him a full day to focus on growing his business. He is the founder of Simple Press Plugins, a suite of premium WordPress plugins built to automate content publishing for podcasters and small businesses. Now, let's hack Hani Mourra. When you book appointments or meetings, you probably are aware of how challenging the back and forth can be to find just that right day and time that works for both of you. It's frustrating. It's aggravating. It drives me completely nuts. If there's nothing that makes me want to say no to somebody to take an appointment or a meeting with them, that aggravates me more than their lack of scheduling software. To the point where I actually have my own links now where I'll just send them to other people, even if it's not for me and I'm the one booking it, because it's annoying. And if you find people saying no to you or find it hard to be booking appointments, it's because you need scheduling software like Acuity. They make it easy. It works with your existing Google, Office 365, iCloud, or Outlook calendar. Clients can view your availability and self-book appointments. They can complete onboarding forms and even submit payment so you can get right down to business. Plus, it helps you avoid no-shows with automatic text and email reminders. It's simple to use and they offer phenomenal customer support. What more could you ask? Here's what I want you to do. Visit acuityscheduling.com/hack and start booking like a true entrepreneur today. Paid plans will start at just $10 a month. But for listeners of Hack the Entrepreneur, you can access a free 45-day trial of Acuity Scheduling's stress-free schedule management. That's a month and a half of scheduling bliss absolutely for free, just for being a Hack the Entrepreneur listener. Now, go to acuityscheduling.com/hack. That's ACUITY scheduling.com/hack. And we thank them for their support. We are back with another episode of Hack the Entrepreneur. And today we have a very special guest. Hani, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely my pleasure. You know, we got to meet briefly at, not even briefly, for quite a whole weekend.
Yeah.
At Dan's conference. And I've been looking forward to this ever since. So, let's jump into it.
Yeah, we had a great chat while waiting for our mutual friend, Harry. We pretty much had the whole interview, just chatting at the bar with friends. So that was awesome.
That's true, but we weren't recording it. Nice. All right, Hani. So you are, I think, as I just said, you are my first guest who you have a good job as within software. Mm-hmm. And then you are also, for the past many years now, you've been breaking out with your own software products to the point where you are taking a full day off from your job to run your businesses. And then you work obviously nights and weekends and mornings all around it. So you are a man with many hats. Mm-hmm. But today we are talking to Hani, the entrepreneur.
Awesome.
So Hani, as an entrepreneur, can you tell me what is the one thing that you do that you feel has been the biggest contributor to your successes so far?
I think I gotta attribute it to being obsessed. Like I get obsessed with my projects. Like my ideas, once they get some traction, I obsess. Like day and night, I think when I'm driving to work, I'm thinking about how to improve it, how to market it, how to get the message out. So just having that, like I love it so much. I enjoy it. I believe in it, and I obsess over it. And I think you need to for a small period of time, and just to kind of get that. Once you get your idea out there, you need to really believe in it. And then when you communicate your message to your customers, to your potential customers, they see that in your voice, in your message. So obsession. I know it sounds like a bad thing, but I think you need to.
Yeah, I think that you're right. And I don't think it sounds like a bad thing. I mean, actually, like yesterday's episode of the show that came out yesterday was Grant Cardone, and his new book is called Be Obsessed or Be Ordinary, I believe.
Oh, perfect.
So it's something that we've talked about recently.
Okay, that worked out.
But I love this idea that you're the technical, well, I was going to say the technical side of your business, but you're all sides of your business. But you come from that technical background, yet when you say you're obsessed with your product, but then you're like, how to market it, how to like position, how to get it in front of your audience. I love how you really, so many coders, they get like into that, like just worrying about the code and the technical, and they don't think about how am I going to sell this, or who's going to buy it, or how is it going to help them. So how is it that you sort of obsess over like the marketing / business side of it rather than the technical side?
Yeah, I learned my first product that I launched it with a business partner, and because I was a technical guy and he was the marketing guy. And I don't know, just watching that process go, like just he had the right audience, he had the right, like the product was a perfect fit with the audience and the traction it gained. But I just learned from that experience that you can have the best product, but if you don't have the right audience in front of it, and you don't put it in front of the right people, no one's going to know about it. So when I launched my second software, I wanted to do it on my own just to learn that experience. Like I've always enjoyed the marketing side. I'm not very good at it, but I wanted to learn it. And I put a lot of, like, I wanted to kind of take on that challenge with Simple Podcast Press, my second plugin. And that's the one where I wanted to do it by myself, both sides. I mean, I don't fully code everything, so I do have some help on the coding side. I wanted to focus on associating myself with the product, going out to conferences, being interviewed on podcasts. Like I wanted to bring awareness to the product myself. I know there's a lot of value in it. That's like, I learned that the first time around. You can have the best product. If nobody knows about it, not the right people know about it, it's trouble. It's trouble for your business.
That's true. That's very, very true. And so this first business of yours was Easy Online Video Tips. Is this the one?
That was just a kind of a fun little blog that I started.
Oh, so that wasn't the one with the partner.
No, that was just a blog, and I was doing video tips on video marketing. And I love video. I was obsessed with video as a kid and growing up. I was always the guy doing the family videos, editing. I just loved it. And then I kind of learned about, how to use YouTube to market, do some keyword research, get some, links to your site, get some traffic from YouTube. So I was teaching that on the blog. I've always felt like keeping things simple, teaching people how to get traffic with video. And then when I don't know, one day I just clicked, like, you know what, I'm a software guy. I don't want to create an information course, info product. I didn't feel it was the right thing for me. I wanted to create a software, something to do with video. And a few months later, I was sitting there and this idea literally hit me. I said, what's my biggest pain point in my workflow? I do a lot of videos. So I identified that, getting the video off of YouTube onto my WordPress site was just very tedious. It just took up time that I didn't need to do it. So I came up with a little plugin for WordPress that would automate that stuff. And that was my first product. And I knew I didn't have a big enough audience, even though I did have an email list, which is very important to start early on from my blog. But I decided to partner up with somebody to launch that.
Okay. That was because they had the audience or...
Yes.
Yeah. And you knew that you needed that audience because the best product doesn't sell itself.
Exactly. I mean, I knew I had 1,000 people on my email list. I said, okay, that's pretty good. But someone who had 50,000 people on his email list who had customers already buying products related to YouTube and how to learn how to market with YouTube would be a perfect fit for a software that does some automation for them.
So how did you find somebody potentially that would partner with you? And then how did you reach out to them?
Yeah, it's a funny story. I was sitting at my corporate job in a meeting. It was just one of those just boring meetings about which color of the button what color of the button we should make on the software. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And anyway, I'm sitting there scrolling on my phone, just kind of quietly on the side. And I'm part of this Facebook group. Anyway, long story short, this guy, Sean Malarkey, posted a thing. I need someone to help edit my video. It's an hour long. I want to cut it down to about 45 minutes. And it said, just post it now. And I said, oh, I'm kind of known of Sean, and him and Lewis Howes were partners. And, they have a very big audience. And I know they have a YouTube information product with James Wedmore. So I knew that these guys I want to be around. So I said, hey, I'll volunteer. I'll do it. And I just happened to see that post. I replied right away. He said, cool, thanks, Hani. I'll send you a private message and, I'll send you the file. And he said, oh, then how much do you charge? I said, no charge. I'll do it for free. And so I edited his video, and then he had another one. And the ironic thing is it turned out he was making a podcast. He was making these videos into podcasts. I didn't know that at the time. But anyway, so as I was editing, I was giving him the results. He goes, do you know anything about podcasting? I said, a little bit. And I dug in and I learned about podcasting. Long story short, I said, Sean, let me show you something. One day we're on a Skype call. Let me show you this cool little thing. That was my little software that I started creating. He's like, whoa, what does it do? It can do this automatically? You can take it from YouTube to your WordPress site? Can it do this? Can it add an email opt-in box? I said, no, but we could add that. And he's like, whoa, if you add that, that's going to be a killer product. And then, he just got me fired up. I was like, whoa, all right. So anyway, we kept chatting. I kept, hacking at it a little bit. And then when it got to the point where it was stable, I said, and he goes, I think we can sell this together. And we just kind of started that casual conversation. And we ended up signing a business agreement to launch it to his audience. And that's how we did it.
I like it. So it's like people say, like, reach out and help people, like literally with the like idea and the want to help, not with some sort of back, like, oh, I have this other plan. It's like, no, you just wanted to help. You thought he was good. And
yeah, exactly. And he was like a really nice guy, like a really humble guy. And he saw the software. He got me more excited about my software. It's always cool when you see somebody who kind of in that industry say, you know what, this is a killer product. And it just kind of keeps you motivated. Yeah, it does. We really do need that a lot. Like sometimes because we're so by ourselves working on these things, right? And it's like, maybe I'm just convincing myself that it's good. Exactly.
So hearing the outside perspective is always good.
Yeah.
So you've been like a blogger, a coder, you call yourself a software guy. I'd like to know if you have at this point. I think you have. But like when this sort of happened, because I know looking at your LinkedIn, I believe you started like blogging like almost 8 years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. But at what point during this process, Hani, did you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. I started blogging with no specific purpose. Like a friend of mine said, you're good at this topic of video, teach people video, start a blog, get a lot of traffic, write good content, all that back in 2009. And I said, okay. I didn't know what I was doing with it, but he goes, don't worry, just build an email list. Just start building that email list. And that's what I did. And I didn't really have a goal. And I would say around not until 2013, where I would struggle. I would do a little bit of coaching. I'd help people with video, like sit down with them, give them a plan for their video plan. But I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I like talking to people. I enjoy a lot talking to people and helping them make their life easier, but it didn't register with me as like, I didn't feel good. It didn't feel like it's my thing. And then, I don't know, one day I was sitting there, I'm like, what am I going to do? I have a video audience and I love video. Then I'm like, man, I'm a software. I manage software. That's kind of what I do for a day job. I manage software teams. And I love software. Like software is a great tool. I'm going to admit I'm not the best coder, but I know how to manage teams. And anyway, I said, I got to make a software product. And that was not until, I would say early 2013, I think April or so of 2013 is when it just hit me. I didn't know what the idea was, but I knew that I wanted to combine my two passions, like software and video together.
And that was it.
That was the Simple Video Press. Yeah, the first product that 4 months later we launched with my business partner, Sean.
Wow. Okay. So with you and Sean, I guess between the two of you, was it easy to know, or was it easier to know that there was a viable market for this product?
Yes. So we did a couple things. Sean is has a very big audience. He has a lot of influence on People just love the guy, and I love the guy too. Like, he's a great guy. He's got great products. And so when we decided to do this, we said, you know what, let's validate the idea quickly by starting a private Facebook group, the beta testers. And all he did was just say, I'm looking for 10 people to be beta testers for this new video WordPress plugin. He didn't say what it did. He just said, I'm looking for 10 people. He just posted on his profile, I think in one of his Facebook groups. And I think within like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so, we had our 10 people. I think we had 20 people actually. We got 20 people in. And they were so excited. People were like, oh, next time you guys have an opening, I want it. Like, he didn't even email his list. He just posted on Facebook, and we had 20 people. So that was the first step. And then, but that doesn't tell anything. I mean, 20 people can say, yeah, I'm in, but no one's going to actually use the software. So once we got the first early beta, I think a few weeks later, we got a working version, very primitive, but it's working. And out of those 20, I think about half of them actually used it. And then they were like, oh, this is great. I wish it did this, or can it do this? But I was like, just the fact that 10 out of the 20 people actually used it, that gave us a sign. Because I didn't know until later that Sean had another software that he was working with somebody else on, not related to video. And he had a beta group of, I think, of 10 or 20 people, and he said one person actually used it. And they scrapped that project. They never actually launched it. So he told me later, because the fact that we had 10 out of 20 was a positive sign, the first sign that there is a need for this product. And then from there, the beta customers gave us some great feedback, like amazing features. And when we launched it, we were just confident. Like we were confident that there's a need for it, but then we were also worried that we weren't ready to support that many people. So what we did was we limited to 100 people. We wanted to open up to 100 people for sale. And that's what we did. And we sold out, I can't believe, in maybe, I think less than 24 hours, we sold it, 100 copies.
Wow. And so this is interesting. When you said Sean was also testing another product and only one of the beta testers actually used it and he scrapped it.
Yeah.
Because what I've seen so many times, maybe you've seen this too, is we follow like this quote unquote steps that we're told, like as in get beta testers, get people to test it. But then even if nobody used it or all the feedback came back negative to us, we would just convince ourselves in our head that they just don't know how it works yet.
Right.
And we're going to keep working on it anyways. You know what I mean? We'd validate it in our heads.
Oh, exactly. And that's like one of the things you have to do is you have to kind of know where to cut the line. Like, luckily, I didn't have to experience that with the video one, because I would have pushed Sean. I'm not gonna lie, just like anybody else, I believed in this product. Like, it solved my problem, and I love the idea of it. So I'm glad it caught traction. I'm glad that, but it's a tough decision. Like, if nobody's using it, like if you're giving away for free and nobody is using it, that's the first flag. I mean, maybe you don't have to scrap it. Maybe you need to try to get a few more people. Maybe you need to have one-on-one calls with them, Skype calls, onboard them. Maybe it's an onboarding issue. They need to learn how to use it. So we did do that with a couple people. We hopped on Skype calls. I walked them through it. So, it doesn't mean scrap it right away if nobody's using your free beta, but maybe you take a next step and get on a call with them and walk them through the onboarding process.
Be willing to spend the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you need
to see get to the root of the actual problem. So how has this changed? I'd love to know what your process is. So that was with Sean. Mm-hmm. He's got a big audience. You respect him and his audience, and obviously as like a sales or business person. But now, just in the last few months, right, you've created another product. I would like to, and this is without any partners, but I think taking everything you've learned along the way. So how was the process this last time for deciding on a new project that it's worth your time, energy, and resources? How has this process changed for you?
Yeah, so let me talk about my second product, which is the podcasting product. And that one is by far the biggest product, even bigger than the first one. And that's the one that I launched back in 2014. And that's the one that I decided to do on my own. So basically handle the marketing side and handle the technical side with some help from some developers. So that one, I was getting familiar with the video space and partnering up with people in the video space, but podcasting was kind of new. Well, it was new to me at the time, back in 2014. But when I launched the video product with Sean, he was actually launching a podcast. And so I learned the ropes of how to launch a podcast and all the technical stuff, how it all works. Then he introduced me to somebody else, and I helped them kind of get the technical side going. And then she introduced me to somebody else. Anyway, so one of the people that in that chain of events said, you know what, you have this video product. Why don't you create a podcasting version of your video product? And I said, oh, that's a great idea. So it has some automation for taking your podcast onto your website. And then, I got caught up with supporting the video one. And then a few months later, she pinged me again. She said, hey, how's that product? I wish you could do this, this. And she told me exactly what she wanted, because she was a podcaster. She was a podcast coach. She had the audience. Like she had customers that she could see the benefit of this software. And she told me exactly, I wish you could do this, this, and this. I was like, all right, this is like, I got to do it. First of all, I committed to it. Second of all, she's telling me what her customers want, what she wants as a customer. And I don't know, it just something clicked. I said, you know what, it's time now. So I mapped it out, got my developer to work on it. And then what I did while we were developing it, I started introducing myself to the podcasting audience. And this was the challenge. This what took the longest time. So the way I did this was basically I started with Facebook groups. I joined the Facebook groups. I found out who are these influencers in podcasting space, and who is everyone talking about? Who are the coaches? Dave Jackson, John Lee Dumas, and Daniel Lewis. Find out who these people are, connect with them. They had no idea who I was. I was just this random guy doing these Facebook groups. And then I started, again, back to giving value. I'm very technical. I understand technical stuff. I know WordPress really well. So when somebody posted in these groups, hey, I'm having a WordPress issue with this, I jump in and give them some tips. Oh, try this, or try this plugin, it'll do it for you. So I was just giving, kind of build my name in the space as the technical guy who knows podcasting, because I've learned podcasting by helping several clients before through Sean. Anyway, so I got myself in there, and then with permission of a few owners, I said, guys, I'm looking for beta testers. I tried the same approach, looking for beta testers for this new software. Can I post in this group? I need 1 or 2 beta testers. And then I posted in there, and then I got a few beta testers, and the response was good. But what the more important thing I learned is my initial vision of the software didn't fit in with everybody's workflow. And because podcasting is kind of several ways you can produce a podcast in terms of hosting your podcast feed, etc. I don't want to get into technical stuff, but the point, I learned something by listening to these people in the Facebook group saying, hey, your software looks great, but I can't use it because I do it this way. And I got that over and over and over. I'm like, oh, wait a second. I better tweak my initial vision of my software and make it compatible with more generic workflow so it works for everybody. And that was actually a big turning point. That made the product really pick up steam.
And then how did you prioritize all the feedback you get and everybody's different workflows? How did you prioritize what was sort of the highest level stuff that you should do first?
To be honest, I went with the beta testers and their feedback, and just slowly got it in. So once I realized that there was kind of 2 very distinct ways of doing a podcast, having your own feed on your website or having a feed on a third-party website. So my angle, the way I was pitching my product, is that it automatically publishes episodes to your website. A lot of people were saying, hey, I don't need that. I publish through PowerPress plugin. I don't need it to go on my website. It's already on my website. So what we did is, to me, was a big one. I was listening to people. A lot of people were saying, hey, I use PowerPress. I don't need this. I don't need this. And I thought, well, let me change my message a little bit. So I added support for PowerPress, meaning so you can, when you install the player, my podcast player, it will update all your previous episodes. If you had 100 episodes on your site, it would automatically update them and put our new player in there for you. And people love that, right? They didn't want to go back and update 100 episodes on their site to change the player, because they liked the player. It had an email opt-in box, it had a lot of features, but they didn't want to go back and replace 100 players that they had in their backlog on their website. So by adding that automatically, people adapted to my player very quickly. Yeah. And they loved that feature. So that wasn't initially my plan. I didn't even think about that, but just hearing the feedback from people, the objection, why I didn't want to use my player, because I don't want to update. I don't want to go back and update 100 episodes.
No, because we're lazy. We're podcasters.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But it was automatic. And that's one of the biggest things I added. And that helped reach a bigger audience.
Right. But not only did you ask the questions, but you listened, truly listened to the feedback. And you although it's your product and you came up with the initial idea, it's that being like married to the idea, sort of, that like, no, this is the right vision. That's what's so hard for so many product creators. Mm-hmm. I just love how you are just so like, no, like literally they're the users and I need to know what they want.
Yes. And it was, and I remember like I got some pretty strong negative feedback about that one particular feature from the guys that I looked up to, like Daniel Lewis and somebody, I think Todd Cocker. Some people were just talking like, listen, you guys don't need this. You don't need it. If you already have, if you're using PowerPress, you don't need this podcast player. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, I got to support both workflows, even though it was not even in my target. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even know how to solve that problem, but I knew I had to solve it. And once we did, it like people had adapted to it very quickly. But yeah, you're right. Like I could have said, nope, we only do one thing. We only support this one workflow. And I would have lost out on a lot of customers.
Yeah, exactly. So at the beginning, Hani, you said that your one thing is being obsessed. And now for the last 20 minutes, you've really sort of thoroughly dived into that of just getting the product right fit for your audience. And I love that. But now every business expert talks about this 80-20 rule. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to do the 20% that gives you that 80% of results. You're supposed to do what you're good at and delegate the rest. Mm-hmm. Hani, can you tell me something that you are absolutely not good at in your business?
I'm not good at doing paid advertising, like doing heavy on the marketing side in terms of like paid advertising. So I started outsourcing that recently. I've tinkered, I haven't gotten results. And I said, I'm just going to save up some cash and dedicate it to marketing, paid traffic.
Wow.
So that's nice. One thing. That's one thing I just started doing recently. I mean, it hasn't been the greatest experience still. I'm still looking for the right fit, but I just knew that I cannot, a lot of word of mouth referrals, but I needed to more systemize my sales. So I'd love to do it and figure it out. And I probably could with a lot of time, but I knew that that's not one area. And in the beginning, I'm not a coder. Like I didn't know PHP. I didn't know that stuff. And so I hired a developer for the simple video press and also the podcast press, my first two plugins. And because I knew if I was to learn everything from scratch, it would have taken me a year. But within, I architected the design, looked at all the APIs and figured out what's doable, what's not. And then I handed it off to somebody to implement, which was huge. Like it got me to market very quickly with the video one. So those are the two areas. So even though I do some of the coding, but to write from scratch, I would not. It would have taken me a year.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's smart. I love your awareness of your weaknesses and then knowing that you could, if you sat down, you could learn paid advertising. Yeah. You could code it, but you wouldn't be where you are today if you tried to do all those things.
Exactly. Especially managing the full-time job, like 4 days a week. And you got to be smart with your time, especially when you have a limited time.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you have multiple products, you have a full-time job, and the very first thing that you put on your bio everywhere I've seen on the internet is that you're a dad, mm-hmm. which means you have kids and you have a wife.
Yes.
And those people obviously take time and management
Number
as
one
well.
Priority.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does your family handle you having this side business?
In the beginning, I'm not going to lie, it was tough. It was tough because I was putting a lot of hours and, taking away time from the family. And then sometimes it's indirect. Sometimes you do it, like you stay up late, you have long nights. The next morning, let me be honest, you're a little grouchy and then you're not the friendliest dad and the best husband and rushing the kids to school and everything just gets on your nerves and then you got to go to work. So it's tough. In the beginning, it was tough. And then I learned at some point that, I knew all along, but I prioritized family first. So now I would say at least for a year, I used to look forward to weekends so I can work on my projects. Now I look forward to weekends so I can spend time with my, real quality time with my family. I almost nothing on my laptop on weekends, unless there's something critical I need to send an email or something, but I try to stay away from any work on the weekends. And that's because the kids are growing up now. They're 4 and 7. And it's just a lot of fun, especially in the summer. We had a lot of fun. The weather was amazing and we're just out. We're busy doing fun things. And you need that balance. I know I talked about obsession with your project, but you need those like 1 or 2 days off where you hardly think of it. And then you go back on Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and you're fresh, you're ready to go. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but
No, you totally did. You totally did. And so you take Tuesdays off fully from your job
Yes.
to work on your business.
yeah, so 4 days a week. So it's a Tuesday is my business day where I stay home and I work on my business. Evenings, it's pretty hard now. I'm getting old, so it's hard to put in long nights, but I do put in evenings and weekends. I'd say 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I hardly do anything. I might send an email or respond to a quick support ticket, but I try to not even check my stuff and wait till maybe Sunday night or Monday morning or Monday to the following week to get back into it.
Nice. I love it. So during the week is when you work either with your job or around your job or on Tuesdays, and then you take weekends off to rest up, spend time with family.
That's the plan. Yeah, it doesn't always happen, but most of the time it does. And you feel good, you feel energized the following week when you do that.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple weeks ago, we met Hani and we got to sit down and enjoy a beer. And you excitedly told me about your business and all your projects. I want to know if we were to sit down 1 year from today and have another beer, which I hope we do, and you are really excited about what you accomplished with your business in this past 12 months, what would it take for you to be in that position?
So like 12 months from now.
Yeah. What do you want to accomplish in your business?
I've always, all my products have been around the same theme, which is automation and media-based, like podcasting, video, live broadcasting. I love this space. I know this space pretty well. And like my next goal is for me to give me satisfaction is to go beyond WordPress plugins, go expand and help more people, like by building my first web app, which will help automate some of the tasks related to video and podcasting as well. So taking it to the next level and getting a new product out that can help more people automate their tasks related to media and media production.
Nice. And so it's interesting. You're keeping it within the same market because you have an audience there, but you want to scale as in reach a wider audience as a web app rather than a plugin.
Absolutely. That's a big lesson here. You mentioned a very good point. I know we don't have a lot of time, but if you're building a software, I built 4 softwares, 4 WordPress plugins. And the fact that I had a customer base to start with, and you add more value with other tools, it makes it a lot easier to sell to an existing customer another piece of software. Just the trust level that they have with you, especially if they're enjoying your first software, it's so much easier. I learned that lesson when I launched my 3rd software. People were saying, hey, I'm buying it. Whatever Hani's building, I'm buying. I don't even know what it is yet, but I'm buying it. Just because they got to know me, but also they loved the first product they got. They had a great experience.
That's awesome. That's so valuable. And it's so smart to stick to that market and just scale out.
And I enjoy it. Yeah, and I enjoy that space. Like I love podcasting, video. Now live broadcasting is Facebook Live and that kind of stuff. There's so many cool stuff out there, and I enjoy the space. So I'm definitely going to stay in it.
I love it. All right, Hani, we've got to talk about your business in passing. Now, could you specifically tell the listener about your business and then where they can find it online?
Sure. Yeah. So I have 3 WordPress plugins. So the business is called Simple Press Plugins. SimplePressPlugins.com if you want to go check out all the software. But basically, all the softwares that I have are geared to automatically publishing, whether it's YouTube videos, podcasts, or your Facebook Live broadcasts, onto your website. So we create the content on your website, embed the video or the podcast, and then even embed any comments as well. So the whole idea here is it's helping people publish content on their site and grow their audience, because all our products have a built-in email opt-in box below the player, whether it's an audio player or a video player. So the main intention is to save content creators time and also help them grow their audience and their email list at the same time by publishing their content to their website for them.
Nice. I love it. So simplepressplugins.com is the site.
Yeah.
It's the main hub for all of them. And at Hani Mourra on Twitter, I believe you hang out there.
Yep.
So people can follow up with questions for you if they wish. And I know that people now, when they see the podcast player with the opt-in box attached below it, are going to be like, whoa, I heard that guy. I know the guy that created that.
That's right.
Because it's on a lot of sites. It's really, really cool. So simplepressplugins.com is also the site, and simplepodcastplayer.com is the site. I'll find links to Sean Malarkey. We'll track down his business, and Hani on Twitter and on LinkedIn. I'll put those in the show notes for you at Hack the Entrepreneur for when you're done working out, jogging, walking your dog, whatever it is you're doing right now. But Hani, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate it. And just please keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome and inspiring to watch.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. It was fun talking to you.
Hani, thank you so much for joining me. That was a lot of fun. I really, truly, truly do appreciate it. And it was cool. I got to meet you at the conference, Dan Martell's conference here, and it was cool. We just hit it off. And I love your focus and determination to build this business on the side with the idea of moving it and pushing it to something bigger and more sustainable. But it's brilliant, man. I love the drive. I love the focus of doing that. And I love just the initiative. It's really, really, that's entrepreneurship at its finest. So I got to go back through this conversation, right? We've reached that point in the show where I need to sort of take myself out and put myself in your seat out there listening. And so I went back and I listened. Listened to what Hani said. And then I went back and I listened again. And then I went back one more time. That last time I went through, there was something that Hani said that was so very, very clear. It was just right there. It was that one thing. Did you get it? Did you hear it? Let's do it. Let's find the hack.
And I was sitting there and this idea literally hit me. I said, what's my biggest pain point in my workflow? I do a lot of videos. So I identified that, getting the video off of YouTube onto my WordPress site was just very tedious. It just took up time that I didn't need to do it. So I came up with a little plugin for WordPress that would automate that stuff. And that was my first product.
And that's the hack. Hani. This is awesome. This is the simplicity of this, and it's not easy, but it's simple, right? This is where ideas come from. Ideas are products, inefficiencies in your workflow, things that bother you, things that take up time. And Hani created this WordPress plugin himself, but you can get a WordPress plugin built by somebody else for extremely, extremely cheap. I've been spending a lot of time on Reddit, and on Reddit there's for hire, or I think it's called subreddit called slave labor, where people are just like giving away their time and their skills for super cheap. They just want to make some money or get some Reddit love or something. But you can get WordPress plugins made for simple tasks really, really cheap. So you don't have to be the developer, right? So you probably work within WordPress. Most of us do. And there's probably things that bother you. I mean, there's tens of thousands of plugins out there. You can make one and give it away on your site if you want. Like, these things have value. These are assets. And it doesn't have to be a WordPress plugin. But Hani is like really effectively working himself till he's removing himself almost from his job and his career. It's brilliant, and building a business around one product after the next product after the next product without overthinking it. And then, he later goes on to talk about how he doesn't have really an audience for it at the time. So he just reaches out to people who do have an audience, offers them half the money, and offered, like, these are joint ventures. These things happen all the time. Don't let this stuff hang you up. But I love product creation. I love creating products just out of your ideas, out of your frustrations, out of your inefficiencies, and not so much out of these big giant problems that we maybe think we need to create something like a product around. Like, I just built showlist.io, complete music nerd. And I wanted a place where me and my friends, and now 1,000 other people, can go on and gather up all the bands we've ever seen live and share it socially. There's nothing else to it. There's no big grand scheme around it. That's just literally it. And this is where products come from. And so I love the simplicity in this, Hani, and I appreciate you sharing it with us, how this is where the first one came from. Because I know that's the question out there. Like, well, where does that first one come from? And that's where it is. Hani, thank you very, very much. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I've been asking nicely, for ratings, reviews on iTunes, because it helps the show so much, and it really does. And I've had 5 of you in the last week leave me a rating and review. And unfortunately, with iTunes, it just gives me like your username, and we all make up wacky usernames. So I can't actually go on Twitter or something and thank you, but I'm going to thank you right here. TSMC9. Thanks. 5 stars. I appreciate that. And some kind words. JHost2 also left a review. John Nasty is nasty. Nice. Kevin OSD. Killer review. I appreciate it so much. I really, truly do. Another a Northern Sea Beach Bum. See, these names are crazy. It would be awesome if you guys left like your @ Twitter handle or something so that I could, or just put your name at the end, sign it like Jim or something. Jane, whatever your name is. And then Jason JR 2009 is the most recent review. And thank you so much. It's awesome, man. You guys rule, like truly. So yeah, hacktheentrepreneur.com/review. I think it's awesome that you're leaving them, and it helps so much. So I'm gonna read some more off when they get there. Put your name, say hi to me if you want. We can talk right there. But yeah, it does. If you're on an iPhone right now, hacktheentrepreneur.com/review takes you right to this it's a special link I created. Takes you straight to the page, and you just leave a rating and review right there. 1 to 5 stars, whatever you wish. I'd just like your honest opinion. It'd be cool. And it does help. So yeah, little give, little take. All right. It's been fun. Thank you so much for stopping by. I truly 100% appreciate it. I won't take up any more of your time today, but until next time, keep hacking the entrepreneur.